Hey, good morning, everybody. A little more down move on the markets. We said it was coming. We never know the date when it's going to hit. We just know we're in the area where risk is growing. And so nasty down move yesterday. It was SPX here. The internals were at extremes. And yesterday I mentioned in the room, I was surprised early on while the markets were up, the heavy put buying that was going on. And I did check at the CBOE site, and it actually was. And it makes sense that it closed at 1.2, but at one point during the day, it was up at 2.0, which is, a lot. So what you want to see is like down here, let's see what was going on down here. And this big bar, that's what you want to see at a low, that there's so much put buying going on that it suggests a bottoming process or a turn. Whereas yesterday the markets were going up and there was so much put buying. It's typically, the option activity is more of a contrarian indicator rather than, hey, you know what, they're right, because they're usually not right. But institutions were going to the options to protect. So anyway, things started to fall apart yesterday, and now the internals are working their way down toward the other end. We'll see how far this goes. We're getting there. All right, so where are we right now? 388, almost down to this support, almost. You see the cursor there on the hourly chart, that pivot low right there. So set an alert down there, and we'll see if it can stabilize. It'll look the way this, as much as this is down, gapping down here, it just makes sense that, it may be a little bit more downside, and then it's going to stabilize. Options expiration. I didn't think this would go this far away from that 4,000 level, but there's opinions and there is reality. So, the opinions that are based on market internals and patterns and technical information is a guide. Ultimately, it's price that tells us what's going on and what to do. So now with this gap down toward the 20 MA, pivot low, at least some stabilization early on, which suggests to me, if there's juice down below here for SPX, that should be a good bet. And things have moved so far. Let me see. 38.35. Let's take a look at SPX here. Well, let's go here. 38.35. I like that. Yeah, way down there on support. That's what, that's, these things move fast, but most times, you can get so far away. I consider them to be no-brainers. And so just with a big range day like that, and the ranges, obviously day-to-day ranges are going to expand a bit now. So several day average range now is about 58 points, 39. And so that puts us almost 100 points down. Odds are, that's all we are, is odds trader. Odds are it's not going to go there. We'll see where this is going to end tomorrow. Assuming it's, it might close somewhere down here, lower high. I mean, that was an ominous reversal bar when that occurred on that week. You can see the topping pattern that I still have my drawings there on. And so prices reached it. And now, I don't know, whatever news coming next, but probably into the beginning of the month now, I wouldn't be surprised to see a test of these lows. We'll see how it unfolds. But, with a gap down of this size, I think things will stabilize. Let's see if we get some kind of counter trend bounce. Up above, is there any premium up there? which you'd want to be definitely above 3,900 and maybe 3,950. Wow, interesting. 3,960, exactly. And it's gapping down here. Well, so the downside, if it pushes a little bit lower, it could maybe get to 3,850, but you'll see. We have Fed FOMC on the 31st. Well, that's a long ways away, but yeah. So for today, and if you always got to, I don't know how to calculate it, but the time element of the premium that's at 39, looking again, 3,960, how much of that might go away, depending on how long it takes this to bottom out and then try to push back up again. Dan's posting 8:30 numbers are out. That's all today. Continuing claims, permits, natural gas. Okay. All right, so there we go with that. What you're posting, Dan, and making me think interest rates are moving up, and we're talking about the potential of a W bottom down here, which still is not just a thought at this point. We have to see if this actually flips back up again. But if it does, home builders will probably be good for credit spreads, bear call credit spreads, maybe some shorts. We'll take a look at those patterns. And, Home Depot was lagging. So if interest rates do start to push up, this might actually break back down below here. That's a thought to see how that unfolds. And Dan posted about Bitcoin, some other negative stuff, people losing all their money and not having much of an effect. That was a monster bullish move, right back up to that pivot. Well, for into this Bitcoin, that's a kind of a lifesaver to see that reversal, which was threatening to go down to 10,000. All right. So, this looked like maybe it could get up there. It had the void. It's been the weaker one. Now it's heading back down. And if those interest rates flip up, this will be heading back down toward these lows. And, it's interesting listening to the news, how they're starting to talk more about fear of recession. Last week, it was like, no recession, mild recession. But these markets, these institutions, they trade like the old days of SOS bandits. They can flip on a dime. Well, can't really count much on these opinions that you hear from institutions, as they change pretty quick. And we'll see how far this gets down toward this bullish bar. Not everything, a lot of things come down to retracements. So this move up off of the low was looking pretty good. The size of the retracement back up toward, where it started down from. And now the best, this could collapse right back down, but the highest probability patterns are ones where you get retests. So maybe this stabilization that I spoke about, that the S&Ps are down near support, maybe this stabilizes and some kind of a retest and roll over would be an ideal pattern. Mentioned yesterday about this MTOP potentially forming. It's as we got today and tomorrow's trading, but it would take a miracle to reverse that. So we got a classic MTOP pattern with that topping tail rejection and retest and wide range bar back down. And now that it's on support, it's supportive of a bias that at least stabilization would occur here today. And then we'll see, how much and how much it bounces and what it does here tomorrow. It's got the void that it's created on the way down. And it's just like, just a waterfall downside move. And it's what we call the power of the void. You see that little overlapping bars right there? You think, oh, why did that begin to stabilize there? I always say, just look to the left. So there's always going to be buyers at a pivot over there to the left, give it an attempt. And maybe it could have bounced quite a bit more, but it didn't. And when it failed, it goes down to the next level. So hourly chart, very difficult to get on board, but plenty of little retests on the 5-minute. All right. Look to the left. How many times can I say it? Hopefully people get it, get all the mumbo jumbo off the charts. And, there's the pivot over there to the left. I'm going to be talking a lot about pivots today and utilizing these in that presentation I'm going to do at 3:00. So it'll be good reinforcement for those that have taken courses and utilizing this. We need repetition. So much information that get inundated with, Do we even know what caused the sell-off yesterday? I don't know. I mean, news-wise, I don't know. We knew something was going to happen, Nazar. I mean, we don't know the day, but these market internal gauges and intermarket analysis that we look at, you will learn to respect it. And we wish we could call pinpoint turns, but and especially on the upside, it typically doesn't happen that way. Typically the bottoms are more like this and the tops are more, like that, where they just don't want to give up. Yeah, absolutely, Scott. So sign up. I mean, everybody's concerned. Oh, they're going to email me a bunch of stuff. Unsubscribe, whatever. They've promised me they don't do that anymore. But anyway. Well, Jess is saying more sellers than buyers. That's true. But, having a heads up that potential is coming and then being aware of, failure patterns like this, so it always comes down to price. But internal market internals and intermarket analysis tells you, hey, we're in an area where there's the higher probability that a failure is actually going to fail big time. Sometimes failures just turn out to be nasty wiggles. So, yeah, I don't like the word overbought, Jess. For me, there's no such thing as overbought. Things get extended away from support. If you traded through the late 90s, the word overbought, was like, you put your foot up in your mouth, so many times, because what was overbought became more overbought and more overbought. And then when the bear market came after 2000, the word oversold was, what are you, stupid? 90 something percent of percent correction. So anyway, when prices move fast into resistance, you get internals telling you, be careful, which means, don't be aggressive on the long side. All right. We looked at S&Ps, we looked at the NQs, we looked at YM, we looked at interest rates, transports, which there's a failure pattern, airlines, UAL. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that was like, okay, why does UAL have great earnings and get crushed? Market internals, extended prices, right? It's a probability that it's going to happen. I want data. Sometimes it's a little slow in the morning on this computer, especially on a So I haven't had this symbol on this laptop for a while. I got to call them for that. Anyway, you'll see the big gap reversal there. We looked at Bitcoin. The dollar is trying to make a turn down here at major support. We've been talking about that for a while. Maybe it's the beginnings of the actual turn happening, and that'll help fuel a correction if it continues to go up. And, it's still moving up toward that 5%. The 5-year collapse, now it's down on the 200 MA. So this lower high, lower low pattern is a high probability pattern looking for a turn, especially it's at this support and the 200 MA. So I think we have a scenario where if that dollar starts flipping up and these interest rates start flipping up, the internals already gave us the heads up. I think there is a real possibility that we see this down here or lower. See. This had a nice move. Now this is turning down, and so SX is it? What's that? Is that the symbol? Yeah, we talked about this last year, this reversal, and now it's getting this retest pattern. So that's the bearish side, which says, hey, semiconductors they're going to take a bit of a hit here. Tech. So everything leads to going to have some kind of a correction here. We'll see how far it goes. And that's it. Maybe a little bounce today. All yours, Dan. I don't hear Dan. Does anyone else?
There you go. How about now? Testing. All right, cool. Sorry about that. Yeah, I had two things. All right. So, anyways, real briefly, I was saying thank goodness for the internals. We were playing musical chairs. We managed the longs very well, trailing stops. We have very light inventory. Yesterday, the music stopped, which is what we were looking for. Started adding some shorts. Greg gave us this PG. We covered half yesterday, bear put debit spread. We wanted to hold half into earnings. Had a big old gap down here. And I moved stopped at 30-minute high for the back half. We did one earnings, MTB. Now we did a condor, which is, we did the out of the money $5 wide call spread and out of the money 140 put spread. So it's a range bound strategy for volatility contraction. We wanted to open up in a narrow range. I'm actually surprised. The pre-market level 1 is 147 by 148. All right, so there, we finally got a print. All right, so that is, it's up $3 if it opens here, which is totally fine. 99% chance we're gonna have a beautiful gain at the open. I'll be watching it, obviously. But range bound earnings season obviously is starting. So we, yesterday, MT Live talked about the benefits of buying and selling options. And we do speculate on earnings patterns, but everything starts with a compelling pattern and a bias. And then we talk about what speculative trade we want to put on. A lot of banks here. Let me go through these earnings stocks. KMI opening flat, no pattern. I'm just going to delete you. We were looking, the problem with a lot of these is there was insufficient juice, but there was a lot of condor candidates. DFS here, big old gap down. So I'm putting this on my watch list as one of those. It's a huge gap, nothing to do with the open. But if buyers step up, then that will be a 1 DTE put spread idea. This thing, you know, maybe 30-minute high. See, what I do here in the morning is I'm just winnowing down my list, looking for the best. And then I say out loud what I'm thinking, and hopefully folks in the green room can help me monitor them. So gap down here from a Climo AA, that would be a call spread candidate over yesterday's high for next week. And this thing, I don't see any prints. We'll come back to you. Fulton, 70 bucks, gapped in this prior low and perking. We'll come back to you. So even if you get a short-term bounce, look at the weekly as a bull sandwich. So time frames are conflicting. TCBI, this one I said yesterday was also a condor candidate, and that would have paid beautifully if we did a condor, but the problem was there was no juice. And so it's just gapping up, you know, less than $1. That's exactly what you want to see. This was a condor to me, but no juice, no pattern. I'm going to delete you. TFC, it's up a bit, but extended resistance. I'm deleting you fast. This was a beautiful bottoming pattern. 180 reversal, breakdown failure. You know, we're swing traders, and that would have been a beautiful 2 to 4 day pop right there. Gapping down here, no pattern. Get rid of you. There's our MTB, FitB. FitB, could be a day trade. I like the gap over this end of day base. So 30-minute high, day trade on FitB. NTRS. Now this one, I was only interested in selling a call spread. Things that rally like this in the earnings, I don't care if it opens up, down, or sideways the next day. I got a bearish bias. But now it's you know, it's gapping too big. You know, same with UAL yesterday. When you get a run like this, and now you're gapping up, just blanket rule. Of course, you gotta look at the facts, but blanket rule, 30-minute low, short it. Just blanket rule, and that would have worked there also. And key, approaching this prior low, it's a sell setup on the weekly, no interest. CMA, no pattern of interest. CBSH, can't tell where you're gapping, but this also was what is a beautiful condor setup. But there was no juice, or it's either no juice or too spready, one of the two. This also was a condor. There was a lot of condor setups yesterday. This also, it's opening flat, so that also would have been a home run if you did a short condor. Tal, no pattern. Homeboy Bank opening flat, that also was a condor setup. We would have had a field day on condors had there been juice or good spread, and good spreads, not and or. I don't like the way this thing trades. WNS, Baku. It's not liquid. We'll come back to you. Bank C, that would have been a Climo. I would have sold a call spread into. If it opens flat, still kind of looks lower as a day trade. Triple IN, low volume, no interest. Thomas, we'll see. Thomas shorts now are not going to be easy because of the big gap down in the market. So big gaps are not easy to trade, and particularly if it's not an exhaustion or igniting one. XLI, it's cost. No, Chase cost stopped up break even yesterday. We have very light inventory. This is not a good short. It's a wide range down to minor support, gapping a little further into support. Let me show you our only credit spread opens are this MTB Condor I talked about. Michael Jackson, we're short the 2.5, I'm sorry, the 4.5 puts that expire tomorrow. Michael Jackson. Oh, I just noticed I have the wrong strikes here. Shoot. All right, I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that later. And that's because I confused Michael Jackson with that CGC, so I'll fix it. We have naked put on this. It expires tomorrow. We covered half yesterday. Move stop 5-minute low. That's it. We're very light. Many times we're we're friggin' loaded. We got 20 opens. Now we got 3. Let's see what else I have here. ENTB. This is a little bio we talked about yesterday. A couple of us, including me, bought out of money call options as a speculative, bio with a lot of inside buying going on. I forget. Was it inside buying? There was unusual call activity. Orly here, I know it's down a lot at a prior low, but that's a little continuation pattern, looks lower. Met was on our list yesterday, closing. So Thomas, this is superior short. You got Greenberg Nord. Greenberg Nord, let me put this in a window because this looks fantastic. You got Greenberg Nord under the 20 below the 50, closing breakdown. It's just extended. It's extended. I got all right, DFS expensive. I got MTB on my other computer, so let me put this here. But yeah, this is on my short watch list. This Texas Roadhouse, we were just saying relative strength, bullish 1, 2, 3 weekly. Once the market gets a turn, that one interest. Wow, 126 on Allstate. That's a big old gap down a lot from the prior highs. Let's put that on a window.
Dan, did you cover snow?
Yesterday we did to the close.
You closed it? Okay.
Yeah, took our money.
I covered. I was short.
Yeah, we had a nice gain. Yeah, I saw the gap down this morning. If we were in the equity, yeah, I definitely would have. I would have taken some this morning. Okay, this MTB.